Gentleman yields back. Chair, and I recognize the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Mills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, and the panel. Let me just go ahead and commend you on an amazing job that you've done, not only in highlighting the importance of the warfighter, but also guaranteeing that our recruitment and retention is at the highest levels that we've seen. This is due to good leadership, not managerial problems, as one of my colleagues just tried to reiterate, and will note for the record is walking away because they know they don't want to hear the actual facts and truth. I'm going to go through a couple of things. They keep bringing up this plane, this aircraft. Well, let's go through history. This has been a long-standing cultural share, as aviation was one of the most remarkable things that man had innovated. And in 1945, President FDR actually gifted a Douglas DC-3 to King Abdulaziz, which marked the beginning of civil aviation in Saudi Arabia. The airplane is nothing more than a reason to complain about the president advancing U.S. interests, and this is more to conflate optics than actual outcomes. But we'll let them go ahead and spend their wills on a $400 million upgrade, not realizing the total cost of an aircraft. I think that's a cost savings, a good negotiation. Now, they talked about the Golden Dome. There's a lot of things that's intentionally left off operationally and classified to ensure that we can keep the sovereignty and protection of our nation without our adversaries actually knowing it. Our colleagues know this, but they want to try and highlight it in a way that brings about that you're trying to hide or not be transparent, as opposed to operational and communication security. But what they should be realizing is that there's a real violation of the 1962 Outer Space Treaty. That when the leak was made about Sputnik 2's capabilities and what Russia was trying to do to arm and weaponize from a nuclear capability in space, that maybe we should take a vital interest in not just what we're seeing here on Earth, but what we're seeing abroad as well. The president knew this in the first administration, which is why he created Space Force. I'll also go ahead and talk about DEI. Our recruitment and retention is high because we're no longer factoring diversity, equity, inclusion. We're focused on increased lethality, readiness, and being properly equipped. The warfighter ethos that he claimed was so intact. If it was intact, we wouldn't lower our standards. And our standards aren't arbitrary. The standards that you are setting for our armed forces are based on real military and combat needs that we have seen and evaluated, and usually lessons that are left from bloodshed and loss of life that we then base our standards upon to guarantee that we have the best, strongest, and most prepared warfighters and the greatest voluntary force in the world. With program procurement reform, I love the fact that you're going after the ideas that it's not about trying to have the most expensive at 100%, but what actually functions, works, and saves cost effectiveness and readiness, and having it on the table for our warfighter now, not in 5 years from now. So again, a great achievement. When we talk about recruitment and retention, one of the things I wanted to bring up, and I hope that you'll address, is those who are, in my opinion, unconstitutionally purged from our military for actually having their medical and religious rights denied. And I would like to see these individuals who are wrongfully purged given the opportunity to not only return to serve in our armed forces and our nation, not a political agenda, but to also have the ability to be re-incentivized by having back pay, full benefits, and being able to be returned to the ranks that they deserve without it being politicized. You know, I think that we should start naming a lot of our cities in Texas and in New Mexico and Arizona something that was by a Ukrainian city. Then our other colleagues might actually care about the protection of our borders. This is one thing that you've actually done great by sending our military down there, and we have a 600% increase in apprehension rates and a complete decrease in human and sex trafficking and fentanyl and opioids that are killing Americans by the thousands. Now, when it comes to the cartels, the president has designated our cartels, rightfully so, as a foreign terrorist organization. What can Congress provide to DOD in order to better support the mission, the physical security of service members in the southern border? And is there a possibility of maybe a Title 55, Title 11, Title 10 combination that will allow us to be able to work with DOD and the IC to be able to start going after those cartels?
Well, I appreciate those comments, sir. And as I mentioned earlier, it wasn't really an authorities issue when it came to securing the southern border. The previous administration claimed they needed new policies. No, we needed a new president who was serious about it, and so we have focused on it. rightly designating those criminal cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Right now, we believe we have those authorities. If necessary, we would come to Congress for additional ones.
Thank you so much. And again, I want to commend you as well on the operations against the Houthis. The previous administration had delisted as a terrorist organization, which was disrupting 12% of global trade, in addition to the Bidenflation that was sinking the middle class. So thank you for what you're doing. We stand by to support you. I'm going to support you from day one, as I always have. Keep fighting, and let's go ahead and go after the war fighters. Thank you. I yield back.
Gentlemen.